as most GIS and geospatial professionals know out there, that there's just an incredible explosion of data sets, data sources, and the size of those data sets are increasing exponentially, creating not just storage problems, but data transmission issues as well. Moreover, we get more and more we get questions from folks about who are using UASs, for example, who they just collected a ton of UAS data. They're doing multiple collects over time, and not only is storage becoming a problem, just getting that data to where it needs to be, to the user it needs to go to in order to for them to process that data and create the derivative products they need. It becomes a real challenge, even over even inside of organizations. So compression becomes more and more an attractive option for making that data far more transferable, transmissible, and just easier to handle overall. The benefits of compression, well, a picture is worth 1,000 words, really. You're able to get data sets such as this down to, basically a 20th of its original size. Something like this, again, down to like basically a 10th, not even of its original size, losslessly. So all your pixel values, all your data point values are all retained even in the compressed data set. You get something like this UAS data set that is an enormous, well, it's not enormous necessarily in terms of area, but it's fairly large in terms of file size, and you're able to get that compressed down to just, again, a fraction of the original size while still retaining highly accurate, basically visually lossless data sets. So this is my my QGIS version. You can see I've been playing around with some data sets here. I've got some processing toolbox over here that I've been using on my Mr. SID images. First of all, so what you're seeing here on the left-hand side, I've got a number of different data layers in here. This data layer right here is a Mr. SID MG4 LiDAR file I brought in. You can see that it's basically treating it as an elevation data set. I go into properties. You can see, if I bring it back to like single band gray, you can see how it, excuse me, single band gray, I go to, white to black, white to white. So it basically treats it as like an elevation data set. I like to bring it onto hillshade and bring it back to the hillshade. So what I've done with this Mr. SID LiDAR data set is just make some contours against it using the built-in processing tools inside of QGIS, which really are pretty powerful. You're open to a lot of different toolboxes, a lot of different toolbox downloads for GDAL processing tools, but other tools as well. I've got some shaded relief as well, an aspect layer and things. I also have built into, brought into this QGIS project an Express server layer. So for example, I'm going to turn this on underneath. This is a larger LiDAR file that is being served out by Express server WMS from my demonstration Express server. Let me turn off that contour layer. It's going to reload. So I have that loaded layer on. It actually came in and loaded a little bit faster than the actual native Mr. SID file. But you can see, and I'm going to zoom to this layer, the speed at which this Express server Mr. SID image streams into QGIS desktop is really very fast. The performance is great. QGIS has no problem, of course, rendering this, as it's just a WMS from our Express server, which is just displays Mr. SID and JPEG 2000 imagery blazingly fast. Now I also have in this You can see down here, I've got Colorado GeoServer, Florida Mosaic GeoServer. And what I've done here is I set up a GeoServer on a VM on my same computer here, and I'm cascading my Express server through GeoServer and displaying that as well. You can see again, it's pretty much close to the same speed. This is a very large data set, and it's handling it very well. Not to mention the fact that it's just basically running on my desktop computer on a VM concurrently with QGIS and some other GIS applications that are running as well. But Express Server, because it's basically just designed to handle these massive data sets very quickly by tiling, reprojection, basically doing all the heavy lifting, having it cascade through your through your GeoServer, which would be handling your other types of vector data, other types of raster data or vector data, is definitely a very high performance option. Running a couple different data sets, pretty large. The one down here is that same Florida data set that I was showing in QGIS. And this is basically it's a mosaic of a couple of different counties in Florida. Very large, all mosaic together, but using Express Server. So there's all a bunch of different tiles that Express Server is doing all the heavy lifting with the mosaicing and all that kind of stuff in the background. You can see this is Tampa.